So, I have a story to tell you. But I want to just tell you one little thing about me before I start, that I'm really curious. I have a very curious nature. I get into all kinds of scrapes and things because I want to go and find out why something is like it is, or I want to go and discover things which are unusual or interesting. And what I'm curious about right now is what I'm going to talk about. I was told that I was going to be speaking this evening, and it's speak from the heart. So that's what I'm going to endeavour to do right now. I want to introduce you to two people. One of them is a young 19-year-old woman from Africa. Her name is Meki. She's standing here. And then next to her is a friend of mine called Emmanuel, who's also from Africa. And they're really important people to me right now, because I'm going to go and visit them on Saturday. I'm flying out to Liberia in West Africa on Saturday, because we started a journey together 2 or 3 years ago. And that's the story that I want to tell you right now. So I visited Liberia in 2014. I went there as a coach. I went there because I was curious. I wanted to go and explore what it was like to be in a country which has such a difficult past like Liberia. So I went, my curiosity took me there. But what I discovered while I was in Liberia is what an incredibly big heart I have. And what I mean by that is I discovered what it's like to lead from here rather than from here. It was incredible, because once you start to connect with leading from the heart, you stop having to think about the decisions that you're making. They all come really naturally. So Liberia for me was a starting point in an incredible journey. When I came back from Liberia, I stayed in touch with both Meki and Emmanuel, and I wanted to support them in some way. So I sent Meki some money to help her through high school. She's 19 years old, but she's missed several years of school for one reason or another. Education in Liberia is not free, by the way. 62% of kids in Liberia never receive any form of education at all, which to me is a tragedy. So I was helping Meki to go through school. But to send money to Liberia is quite difficult. You know, you can't just go into the bank and send money, because you don't know where it's quite know where it's going to end up. So I asked my friend Emmanuel if he would help me out. So he said, sure, you send the money to me, I'll take it to Meki, I'll pay it to the school, and what I'll do is I'll send you a photograph of me with the receipt so you know that it's gone to the right place. And I was really grateful to him for that. And he supported me in that way for several semesters, several terms, as I sent this small amount of money out to Meki. And then one day, Emmanuel plucked up the courage, and he said to me, Simon, during the Ebola crisis, I lost my job. Have you got anything that you can send to me? Now, this is a guy who on a regular basis, every month, was receiving a small amount of money, and he gave it to a girl and sent me a photograph of him holding a receipt. But he never once took anything for himself. Well, I said to Emmanuel, I could send you some money, but that just doesn't feel right for me. I'm a coach. I don't believe in that. You know, but that to me is like the cycle of poverty. What can you do to support yourself, I said. And he said, well, actually, you're a very wise man. This is like teaching a man to fish. He said, what I want to do is to start a motorbike business. Can you help me with that? So I said, well, how is that going to work? He said, well, what I'll do is I use my motorbike as a taxi, and I'll ferry people around, and they give me a few dollars, and I can support my family in that way. So I raised some money. I started a GoFundMe page, and I managed to raise enough money to buy him 2 motorbikes. And he used one to support him and his family, and he used the other one to support an orphanage that he was involved in. And I said to Emmanuel, but there's something I'm really curious about. What's your really big idea? What's your biggest dream? And he sent through on Facebook an almost childlike drawing of a school. And I said, Emmanuel, that's what you and I are going to build. And on that day, I made a commitment to him that we were going to build a school together. And that was about 18 months ago, and I continue on that journey. And I'm going out to Liberia on Saturday to meet him and to meet his community. His community have given us 50 acres of land to build this school on. And what's exciting about that is that we can build a school, but we can also build some agricultural land so that it becomes self-sustaining. And this is an incredibly exciting moment for me, that things are slowly beginning to happen. And it all started from a simple conversation. It started from that moment where I set an intention that I was going to support someone in creating their own biggest dream. And it brings me to Mickey. So I'm going to be meeting Mickey also and her family. There's lots and lots of stories to tell. But Mickey, her mother burnt herself recently, and I sent her a little bit of money to help her mother go through hospital, because again, medical care is not free in Liberia. So in the place with the most need, often we find that these needs are just not being met. And so people have to find ways of doing it for themselves. And I said to her the same question: what's your really, really big idea? And she said that she wants to be a medical doctor. And so what I'm doing with the few dollars I send Mickey each month is I'm supporting her in creating her own dream. But what they don't realise is this is what's giving me my greatest joy right now, is that now I have a purpose. And I understand the difference between acting from here and acting from here. It's a completely different experience. For me, purpose is like this huge ball of energy, and what I'm really doing is running to keep up with it. I sit alongside this energetic ball, and it's telling me what to do, and it's drawing the resources together. All I'm doing is serving and supporting that purpose. And so what I do now is I help people who are professional, to find more meaning in their lives. And what I mean by that is I help them to connect with whatever their purpose is. And it doesn't have to be a big dream like going out to West Africa and helping a community to build a school. It can be whatever sings in that particular person's heart. And I really help them to connect with that. And this is magical, and I'll tell you what happened. I was having a conversation with someone who I'd never even met. She's an architect who lives in Miami. And she said to me, Simon, I watched a TED talk about an architect who builds buildings which serve the purpose for which they were built. And I said, well, tell me more about that. She said, well, it's like hospitals that heal, and it's like schools which educate. And I thought, this is a really incredible idea. And she said, and I heard about your dream of building this school in Liberia. And she said, and I want to make that happen. I want to be the architect who builds that school with you. And I thought, that's just incredible. And I said, I bet you've got lots of really wealthy clients, haven't you? And she said, yeah. And I said, do you think you could do some fundraising with me? She said, I'm already thinking about it. So I'm traveling out to Liberia in February, and I want this person to come with me. But she said she wasn't able to come. She said it was too challenging for her, and she'd got some domestic relationship arrangements that she couldn't change. But I said to her, again, this is the purpose speaking. This is what I'm talking about. When it's not just coming from here, it's coming from this ball of energy which I am serving and supporting. And I said to her, but if you can't come, who needs to come in your place? And she said, that's incredible. I can think of somebody in my team who needs to come out there to be my ears and eyes while I'm out in Liberia. Because what I really want to do is I want to understand the vision of this community, so I can build them a building that is going to serve them, that is going to enable them to grow their own food. And I'm thinking, well, this is just incredible, because I've just been given 50 acres of land. I mean, I've got no idea what to do with that. You know, I personally have got no idea how to go about building a school. So what I'm doing is I'm starting with an intention. I'm building an incredibly powerful vision, a vision that I can see and taste and smell every day. And then what I'm doing is just making sure I take the smallest steps. For me, it's like a fractal. You know, you think about the whole containing all of that energy, and I fill that vision with lots and lots and lots of energy of what I want to create. And then every tiny step that I make sure that that's just like a hologram, a fractal of that whole, that it contains the same energy. So I can create everything I do from that same space. That's how I end up with architects coming on board. That's how you end up with 50 acres of land. That's how you end up with a team of people who are volunteering to come out with me. And that's what really I want, the message I want to get across to you today, is the power of purpose. So do something. Connect with what it is that's in your heart. Forget what it is that you think you need to do. Really spend some time connecting with the thing that drives you, your passion, the things that you enjoy most of all. Because if you can connect in that way, then life starts to have an incredibly different energy to it. Somebody once described success as being loving yourself, doing what you love with people you love. And I feel really blessed that I have actually managed to create that for myself. Thank you.